So about 15 years ago, I was in college and for my followers, maybe you've heard a bit about the story before, but I wanted to frame it as what it actually is. This was a full-on alien abduction experience, and I want to tell people about it because I feel like it's important to tell my story and reach as many people as possible. So, I was in college and I was studying biochemistry. I was just a normal, regular girl who liked to play beer pong and didn't really think about aliens. I thought aliens existed. I thought aliens, it's a big universe. Of course they must exist, but I swear to you, I was 20. I had not thought anything beyond that, to be honest. And as you can see probably from my name, I'm a psychic now. But I'd been born kind of psychic. I kind of lost it for a period of time. And I started meditating in high school and started kind of hearing my spirit guide a little bit, like hearing her. And she'd talk to me. And I remember I just started meditating like crazy and just trying to like hear her better and that sort of thing. And stay with me, guys, I swear. We're going to get to the alien stuff. But I remember I finally got to college and I'd started hearing her pretty well. And I started kind of being like, who are you? And she kept being like, not answering or being like, you'll find out. Anyway, I remember getting home. It was a 3-day weekend and I threw my book bag down and I was so frustrated. I was like, tell me who you are. I'm going to sit here. I have 3 days to meditate and I'm going to meditate until you introduce yourselves. Because at that point I was frustrated. So I sit on my bed and I start to meditate. And I meditated and I meditated. And I meditated for about what I feel like was like 45 minutes, probably. Or an hour. I don't know. When you're meditating, you don't know. I wasn't looking at the clock. All of a sudden, I was not on my bed. I don't mean this was a vision. I don't mean this is something I saw in my head. I was meditating on my bed, eyes closed. I was physically standing in a different room that was super bright. So all of a sudden, it was a really sudden moment. I'm standing. My eyes are open. I'm in a bright, huge room, domed room. And the floors are white colored, light colored, like white. The walls are kind of the same color. And it took me a second to be like, this isn't my bedroom. And for my eyes to adjust. And I was like, I was shocked. I was like, what is going on? And I'm standing in this room. My eyes are adjusting because it's so freaking bright. It's like unhumanly bright. My eyes adjust. And as they adjust, I see a tall, blonde woman walking towards me. And she was probably about 6 feet tall. She had really light blonde hair down to about like here, like really light, wavy blonde hair, almost down to her waist. And she was in a blue outfit. And my eyes adjust, quick moment. This isn't my bedroom. My eyes adjust, and all of a sudden this blonde woman is walking towards me. And as soon as we locked eyes, she like smiled at me. Like I just knew the way she smiled at me, she looked like she was like, oh, here you are. Like she was expecting me. And as soon as we locked eyes, she gave me like a lot of information. And the only way I can describe it is we locked eyes and all of a sudden I got a lot of information from her in that quick moment where I knew her. I could feel her friendliness towards me. It's like I recognized her. She gave me a lot of this information, and it was like a split second when we looked at each other where I got all this information, right? And she starts walking towards me, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was very freaked out. I was in a totally different room that wasn't my bedroom. I'm 20. Super tall, beautiful blonde woman, like super tall, gorgeous woman, is walking towards me. And she gets to me, and I'm just trying to keep my cool. And she goes, "Hi, I'm Reyna." And we had I know this sounds weird, but we had like a telepathic exchange where she conveyed to me, like in that when like she was talking, she spoke it out loud. She said, "Hi, I'm Reyna." But telepathically, she was like, "I'm your spirit guide. I'm the one who's been talking to you. Like, you know me, blah, 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 blah." And she goes, "Hi, I'm Reyna." And she's so happy to introduce herself. And she puts out her hand and steps towards me with her hand. "Hi, I'm Reyna," and puts out her hand. And I kid you not, guys, all of you would have done the same thing. When this woman, I'm freaked out already. I'm in this room. And this whole exchange was a few moments. I'm in a different room. Reyna looks at me. She walks towards me. She goes, "Hi, I'm Reyna," puts out her hand. And when she got close to me and like reached out for me, I freaked out. and I jumped back from her because I was just, again, so freaked out by the whole situation. And I was back on my bed. It wasn't even like there was no lost time. It was just she did that. I freaked out. I jumped away from her, and I was sitting back on my bed in my college apartment. And let me tell you guys, I didn't even know what just happened. Nothing like that had ever happened to me, ever. And I got upset. I cried. I was so freaked out, to be honest. And I ran to my roommate, who's still my best friend to this day. I told her what happened, and she was just like, you know, I guess you asked to meet your spirit guide, bro. Like, you met her. And I was like, fair. So I kind of calmed down after freaking out to my roommate. And when I calmed down, whenever I would calm down, in general, my spirit guide would come in and talk to me. When I calmed down, Reyna was there, gently. She's very sweet, she's very gentle. And I recognized her because in that telepathic exchange, it's like she gave me she gave me her knowing, my remembering of her. And so I recognized her voice. I recognized her energy. And Reyna came back in, and then I was like, okay, well, this feels comfortable. I feel comfortable with her. She seems cool. And so I started talking to Reyna when I was 20. And again, this was 15 years ago. No one was talking about alien stuff. I feel like none of us knew this. But I just was like, cool, I have a tall blonde spirit guide. Cool. Right? Like, all right, great. And I didn't really tell many people about it because I was like, who would believe me? But as I started talking to Reyna, she started telling me things about her. She's from a planet called Erra. I was like, interesting. Okay. I talked to her for about 8 years. Pretty, like, all the time. Like, she's my spirit guide. We would talk all the time. And she'd share little things like, you're actually originally from Erra. Me. Just regular me, Vanessa. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, blonde spirit guide, whatever you want to say. Like, I'm not going to tell anyone else. I'm going to take this to the grave. She's like, you're from Erra. It's a planet we're from. And I was like, cool. I mean, I trusted Reyna because I don't know why. I just knew I could. I knew her. I knew I cared about her. I trusted her. And she told me I'm from Erra. And I was like, cool, well, I'm going to take this to the grave. Then we talked for about 8 years, and I didn't really tell too many people about Reyna, to be fair, as I'm sure you could understand why. And then I remember, I think it was like 6 years ago, I was watching a spiritual girl and talking about how she channels the Pleiadians. And by the way, Reyna never said the word Pleiadian. She said we're from Erra. That's all she described herself as. I was watching this chick, and she posted some artist depictions of her Pleiadians she talks to. And she showed me a picture, and I was like, oh, that's Reyna. That's what Reyna looks like. So I go to Reyna, and I'm like, are you Pleiadian? And she's like, yes. So I look up, I do full-on research, because again, I was in school for biochemistry. At my heart, I feel like I'm a logical scientist. So I look it up. On the Taygeta star in the Pleiadian system, there is a planet called Erra. And I looked it up. And I started just researching like a madwoman. I was like, let me look up Pleiadians, because apparently I'm not the only person. There's multiple people who have met them. So I started looking it up, and I saw hundreds of artist depictions. And I've talked to Reyna, and I don't know how to describe this. We like share visions sometimes, so she's like shown me other Pleiadians on the area she was at. So anyway, why this is a whole abduction experience. What Reyna explained to me that happened is when I was meditating, she pulled my astral body onto the ship that she is currently located on. That was that huge bright room. And let me tell you, huge dome room. It was almost like being in a mall is the only way I could describe it. There was like really bright light, and there's like a park, like a central park that was like to my left, but I didn't really pay attention to it because I was so freaked out. But it's this huge room. So anyway, I was astrally pulled on this ship, and they have technology that makes your astral body feel like your actual body. So I actually thought I was there, but she pulled me out astrally to have this whole experience. So anyway, if you stayed with me this long, thank you for hearing my whole experience. I really appreciate it.